What up, Long Beach? Welcome back to your home for everything local sports. It's JJ.
And Mike. This video is brought to you by Naples Rib Company, the perfect place to cater your team's next event.
Oh, it's a league game, Smokey. More league, Suburban League football finally getting underway. It's kind of like the halfway point of the season for some of these teams that are just about to start league or starting league this week. But I think the #1 league game we've got our eye on might just decide the Suburban League title. Mayfair at La Mirada. La Mirada, the Matadores, have won the Burbs for the last 3 years, and this Mayfair-La Mirada game has decided the Suburban League championship for the last 3 years. But now, with the schedule change, it's the first game of the league season.
Is September 22nd not eligible to be a league championship game when we still got 6 weeks of the regular season?
You look at some of those Suburban League final scores over the last few years, and you tell me.
Oh, I would certainly, you and I circled this from week 0, week -1. This was the game that we were looking at in the Suburban League, and I think there's every reason to think that. The weird thing is, standings box can be liars when it comes to the non-league schedules we've discussed. Mayfair sitting pretty at 3-1, La Mirada not so much. But that happened the year that they won the state championship and the CIF championship. Well, because they're playing these just really powerhouse Trinity League type teams. So I kind of throw those records out. To me, this is 0-0 in league versus 0-0 in league as the two favorites. Who's going to win this thing? And you know what? You and I were saying this yesterday. I'm so excited about this game because I feel like I have no idea what's going to happen.
It has kind of been typical recently. Mayfair hasn't defeated La Mirada since 2013, and La Mirada has outscored Mayfair 150-20 within that time frame. However, this is the first time in said time frame that Mayfair has probably got the most talented guy on the field in safety Chris Adamora.
Well, I think we also read sort of a similar statistic when talking about Mayfair's Milk Bucket rivalry game with Lakewood, that there was this negative trend, and then they went and turned that around and won that thing for the first time in a generation. So I sort of expect something similar. I just think that Derek Bedell has done such a great job with that program that you see him in the top 3 of the CIF every week, and you see them reversing trends like, okay, we've been losing to La Mirada or we've been losing to Lakewood. So to me, I wiped the slate clean on this one. I had a couple people ask me who I thought was going to win, and I was just flat out like, I have no idea.
Another big game that's not actually a league game, but St. John Bosco is in Maryland this weekend, taking on St. John's, the number 17 team in the nation according to Max Preps. Bosco down to number 6 in the nation according to Max Preps. So this is another huge game for Bosco. Now obviously after the disappointing season opener in Florida, and then like we talked about the offensive struggles they had against Chaminade, this game really could be the "oh, Bosco's back and they're all right" game. Because if they put up a big win on the road like this headed into the Trinity League, it's a message to everyone.
This St. John's team reminded head coach Jason Negro and the rest of that Bosco coaching staff of their Trinity League opponents. That's one of the reasons they're playing this game right before their league season starts. So obviously one to watch. We will be tweeting live. We'll tweet out the channel and the time information on Friday when we get a little bit closer to the game. So follow up at PT Gazette Sports and make sure to set some time aside on Saturday if you want to follow your Braves. We mentioned the Suburban League getting started, so is the Moore League this week. I'm going to bring on Matt Simon now, who's going to break down a couple of these Moore League games. I'm going to be at Poly Milliken, certainly very interested to see how the Jackrabbits are going to bounce back. You did a feature about Milliken head coach Justin Utupo this week. What's the Milliken mindset? It's kind of an interesting ongoing story to me to see how coaches and teams kind of manage the expectation games before a big game against Poly.
As Utupo likes to say, young guy, he just wants to keep it simple, you know, game by game, get the guys into a winning culture that he's trying to cultivate over there. Players, the community, and the staff really into it. Basically, this is a game where they may have some trouble, but he's just going to try and get them going and worry about this one and then worry about the rest of the Moore League after that.
I think Utupo definitely knows something about beating Poly. He was on that 2009 Lakewood team. JJ and I covered that game. Really weird, by the way, seeing people that we covered now wearing headsets as a head coach of a football team. Utupo at 25 is obviously on the younger side for a head coach. But that'll be definitely interesting to see how that one plays out. And then you're going to be at Wilson Cabrillo, where we are expecting Issa show.
Yeah, Issa showcase, as in Ian Issa may have his coming out party against Cabrillo at Vets, but we'll see. As last week came, it was a heartbreaker against Huntington Beach. You know, the kicking game got blocked in the final minutes in overtime, so as long as they're able to pound the rock with Issa, we should see a show.
Well, if it were me, I would not be excited to play Poly or Wilson because, like you said, they both had really difficult, frustrating losses. That's 2 in a row for Wilson now, and I'm sure they're going to be very excited at Vets, playing under the bright lights to try and get things right Issa had almost 200 yards on the ground last week, and against certainly a better team than they're likely to face against Cabrillo in terms of defensive experience. So very excited to see how he does. The third game will be Lakewood taking on Jordan at John Ford Stadium. A couple of teams looking for their first win.
That game decided whether or not the Lakewood playoff streak would continue last year. It was the season finale, and if Lakewood wants to turn this season around and continue that playoff streak and get it to 16 years, they need a win like this. That wraps up the Moore League. The other two Suburban League games are Glen versus Cerritos and Norwalk and Bellflower. The best non-league game this week might be Los Al at J. Sarah. J. Sarah, one of the best teams in California. They are number 7 in Division 1, so a big test for Los Al, maybe even a barometer for Los Al to see kind of where they are in their own division.
For my money, Jage, the best local game might be Gar hosting St. Anthony, a couple of very talented lower division programs. St. Anthony ranked number 5 in Division 9, Gar ranked number 7 in Division 10. But a couple of teams who've had some games where they look good and some games where they didn't look good. So I think this is a good, I always call it a GPS game, let you know where you are. Curious to see how that shakes out.
Dude, and we got a TBT Throwback Thursday to that epic in the playoffs last year when the Gladiators and Saints went at it. So make sure you go back on our YouTube channel and check out that video highlight. Downey maintaining its spot in the top 10 in Division 4. They are at number 7, and they're going to be taking on Santa Fe this week.
It's another battle of the Christians as Valley Christian is taking on Ontario Christians. That's kind of a small school rivalry that's been interesting the last couple years. Both teams ranked in CIF as well. Valley Christian number 4 in Division 8 and Ontario Christian number 6 in Division 11.
Plenty more action around the local area, and if you want to follow all of those games, you've got to follow us. PressTelegram.com, Gazettes.com, on Twitter at PT Gazette Sports, and also on Facebook.
I'd like to thank all of our sponsors, including Papalucci's, a great place to eat down on 2nd Street. Boy, we'll be fiending for some Papalucci's about 11 o'clock when we start working on all these videos Friday night. If you want to see those highlights, the best articles, photos, and everything else local sports, you got to keep it right here.